Hi, I'm Dr. Meg, and today I'm going to be talking about gap years, why they're amazing, and why most American students categorically reject them. Stay tuned. So, before I get into my specific points about gap years, let me clarify what they are. In the American system, a gap year is when a student takes a year between when they graduate high school and when they matriculate into college. Now, it's really important that the student is accepted to college and that they defer. If they simply don't apply and then try to get back into the system, that's a different thing. And gap years can be used for all sorts of things. Sometimes they're medical, like a student really needs to rest or they need treatment for something. But I've seen students work at jobs at restaurants or in fields they're really interested in. I've seen them travel abroad to do humanitarian work or to do research. They don't have to just be sitting in your house, but there are a lot of different options. And that's what's sort of exciting about gap years and also a little bit scary. Okay, so the first thing you need to know about gap years is that every study done on this shows that students do better if they take a year off. They do better with leadership, they do better with their GPA, they do better with motivation. Across the board, it's just a win-win-win if a student will take one. So a really important fact about gap years is that it's much easier if you apply while you're still in high school. If a student applies, they get accepted and then they defer their admission. Sometimes parents come to me and they say, my kid is so burned out, they can't apply to college. They just need to wrap up school, take some time, and then apply. But this doesn't work for a lot of reasons. The biggest is that when you're in high school, it's easy to just walk over to the counselor's office, ask them to send a form. The teachers remember you, the admin knows you. So I always tell parents, I'm sorry to hear that your kid is burned out. I believe you, but they're going to need to get in at least somewhere this year and defer. That's going to be the much easier route. The third thing you need to know about gap years is that not every American school is a fan of them. Now, in the British system, it's very common. That's where we actually get the term. But here in America, it's much rarer. And some schools like Harvard are a big fan because they know it's really, really good for students. And then generally speaking, large state schools will tend to be a little less happy about it. And also private schools sometimes because it can mess with their budget. So sometimes it takes a bit of finagling. Like with the University of California system, you actually have to apply for deferment and you may or may not get accepted. You have to provide paperwork. So it's not as simple as just telling a school, great news, I've decided to rest up for a year and go travel the world. You have to, case by case basis, figure it out with the school. I've also seen private schools say, well, that's fine, but we may not be able to offer you the same financial aid the next year. Usually they do, but again, it depends on the school. So that's an important thing to note. It's not just once you get a kid to agree to it, it's all gravy. The fourth thing I want to tell you about gap years is that for students who are teetering on burnout, they can be invaluable. It doesn't mean that a student is going to spend a year at your house watching TV, although a gap year could look like that. They could be working, but ideally they would be doing something non-academic, and this is going to allow them to just sort of find their rhythm again. I've seen the stress of high school so intense for students these days, and the world at large also so intense. And I just think it's a very important thing to consider if you're seeing the signs of exhaustion, depression, burnout. I have another video on is it procrastination or exhaustion? It's a good question these days, or anxiety, I really urge families to consider this because it can be exactly what a student and a family need. So my fifth and final point about gap years, I'm going to answer, why are they not more popular if they're so good for students? And I find it to be a catch-22. To go against the grain, to go against what's expected of you, takes a certain level of maturity. And gap years are there for students who need some more maturity or they need some time. But unfortunately, the ones who need it the most tend to lack the maturity to be willing to risk, peeling off from their class and doing something different. So they're actually I find the most likely to just go with what's expected of them and just go off to school. And unfortunately, the ones who are more interested in gap years tend to be more mature, and they seem like they would actually do pretty well in college already. I still try to talk everyone into them because I'm a big fan, but that seems to be the reason that these gap years just aren't really catching on in the way that I would expect. So I hope you found that helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. And also check out my free quiz on what kind of parent are you, and my free ebook on how to massively reduce stress in the college admissions process. Thanks. See you soon. I'm Dr. Meg.